At the kitchen table across from my boo, she plays new Marshmallow. Gosh, that's deja vu. Oh, what a fable to Medusa the Mallow Man, but she's got too many cards in her hand.
Come on now, let's play some Lorcana. With Pirate Donald Duck, it's a Nirvana. We'll down a Dole Whip floater, two lick popsicles, play red and blue, a smorgasbord of lore, it's Lorcana.
What's up?
What are you doing?
How was that for a start to the podcast? I got you so good. Oh my goodness.
That was really
Welcome
good.
to Smorcana, everybody. We are here to talk about Lorcana. We're here to talk about snacks. And we are here to talk about Disney.
Yeah, Disney, what's up?
My name's Brett.
And I'm Katie.
And, we're just having a great time here on the podcast. 20 episodes in, a score of episodes.
20 episodes? That's crazy. That's a lot.
What are we going to do for episode 20?
Celebrate.
And then?
And then celebrate more.
Cool. And then maybe we'll talk about slept-on cards.
Yeah, we're going to talk about slept-on cards today for our appetizer, cards that may have been overlooked.
And then for our entree, the restaurant powers that be promised a foreign dish surprise.
How mysterious. How exciting.
Yeah.
I wonder where it's from.
Before we dive in, before we dig in, before we
eat up,
before we wolf down some delicious content, updates.
We got some updates. So, set champs, they're coming straight up. AQAP, as quick as they possibly can. Our league is starting to wrap up, too. We've loved going to league. We're reaching the end.
Yeah, we have one more week of league, and it's going to be our league tournament. So if you've been following along, you know that we've been in a starter deck league. We got starter decks the first week, and then each successive week, we were given 2 booster packs. And so we were able to incorporate those into our starter decks. We are also able to trade any cards that we want while at league, and then our decks stay at the store at Diversions until the end of the league. And then next week is going to be our tournament. So we get to finally kind of put the decks to the test that we've been working on for a while now.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait for the tournament for it. It's been a difficult challenge with League. To give you guys a little update on how our decks are doing. Personally, I don't like my deck.
Oh, no.
I shouldn't say I don't like it. I do like it, which is part of the problem, I think. I went with the hero starter deck, as we've said before, and I really haven't changed much about the style of it. It's still Sapphire Steel, but I've mostly just picked heroes that I like, and I try to get a bunch of copies of those heroes. I threw in Hans, and that's it. I really, honestly, as soon as we get to League, I've just been putting in some fun cards that I open from the packs, and then I can't wait to get down to games. I just really haven't been spending time building it.
Right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's however you want to enjoy the game. Are you having fun?
Yeah, I'm having the most fun.
Well, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and for me, the approach of League mostly has been to get those fun points. So you can gain points every week in our league, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you get a point if you wear a Disney thing. You get a point if you use Disney-themed items dice or boards or, counters or whatever. And so I love getting points in that way. And I love finding other little noodly ways to get points, other little special things, like having a couple Madrigals in play at the same time and having a hero and a villain in at the same time.
I actually just got the achievement that you get for having a Storyborn, Dreamborn, and Floodborn in play at the same time last week. Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I lost all but one game last week, and I played a lot of games. I probably played 10 games.
Wow.
And I lost 9, would seem right. So not a good deck, but a fun deck. I'm using Anna in there. I've got a lot of Annas. I've got the big Anna and the little Anna. So it's fun. I am having a good time.
I happen to notice that you're one of 3 people in the league who have maxed out on points every week. So even though you may not be having success in terms of win rate, your participation has gone noted.
No, I'm winning League. Even though my deck might not be winning games. The League.
And you still have time, right? Because you're going to get 2 more packs and you have another opportunity to fix your deck and maybe make it as good as you possibly can before the tournament next
there's
week.
plenty of time. Just hit the League for fun. You know, we've been getting ready for set champs and getting real serious about it. It's really nice to have League just be like a silly, fun, funky time where I can play whatever card I want, you know?
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing?
Pretty well. I haven't really deviated from my initial starter deck course either. I've leaned in hard to the Madrigal sub-theme.
Yep.
And I was able to pick up an extra Isabella, which is great. I love her. I was able to trade for an extra Mirabelle because one of the other players who was playing the Madrigals kind of pivoted off of that line. So I have 2 of the 5-cost Mirabelle that supports all of your other Madrigals. I also have leaned into this little sub-theme where I am singing Look at This Family. I got up to 3 copies of that, and I have a couple of the Singer 7 Ariel, and then a bunch of the Singer 4 Ursula. So I run 4 Ursulas, 4 of the Bodyguard Prince Eric, and a couple of the Shift Prince Erics and the Shift Ursulas. And that's been really fun. That kind of is a nice little sub-theme where Ursula works really well with the Look at This Family, and Eric combos really well with his Shift target and the Ursula. So I'm really happy with the direction the deck has gone. It's this Madrigal / Ursula / Prince Eric deck.
I love that. It's Madrigals under the sea.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it. I think your deck's a lot of fun. I have loved seeing, again, all these cards that we don't really get to see in the meta necessarily. I love the Madrigal cards. I think they're so cool. I really wanted to play with the heroes, and I love playing with the heroes, but the Madrigals also seem really cool. I feel like you can't go wrong.
Yeah, I'm excited to try Anna. I want to make a deck with maybe an Amber Sapphire Princess Rushy kind of deck with Anna would be really fun.
Yeah, with some underused cards, which we'll get to.
Yeah. Lots coming up in the Lorcana world. Lots of plans.
So much. I mean, like I was saying before, right? We've been drilling for set champs. Absolutely drilling. We're signed up for 3 or registered for 3 different set championships right now.
Yep. We've got 2 on the first weekend. We've got 1 on the second weekend, the day after a wedding that we're going to.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's Dallas-Fort Worth the weekend after that. So
yeah, man.
We might pick up another set champ when we are out on our southwestern road trip.
Ooh! Yeehaw!
We're going to be in LA for the final weekend of set champs. So maybe we'll visit a store while we're out there. That could be really fun. We have a lot of plans for this southwestern road trip.
OMG. So we've been putting it together piece by piece a little bit because we are going to the DLC in Texas. So while we're down there, we've never really been to Texas, the 2 of us. I've driven through it before, but never really spent time there. There's a lot we want to see in the American Southwest, so we're doing a little bit of a road trip down there.
Yeah.
After the challenge.
Yeah, we're going to be in Austin, in Waco, in obviously Dallas-Fort Worth, then probably Santa Fe, Flagstaff, and LA. So if you're in any of those places or anywhere in between, and you have an amazing recommendation for a game store or a restaurant or anything, let us know. We'd also love to meet anybody who wants to meet up and get some games in, maybe.
Heck yeah. We're also going to be going to the Grand Canyon. So if you play Lorcana inside of the Grand Canyon, let us know. We'll try to get a game in that canyon.
Maybe we'll do a Grand Canyon pack rip and post it on Instagram.
Definitely. Do you think anyone's ever played Lorcana in the Grand Canyon?
No.
I'd say no.
Let's do it.
We're going to be the first.
Yeah, new goal.
Woo!
New life goal. One more plan that we recently organized. We get to go to Disneyland at the end of our trip.
Yeah, we do. Ow!
Yeah, we're going to do 3 days at Disneyland. I've never been. You worked there.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to take you to Disneyland.
You're
it's so fun.
All of the ropes, aren't you?
Oh, the best. I can't wait. We're doing 3 days. We're going to see it all. I'm sure we'll post content from there. It's going to be a blast.
You keep telling me that Pirates is way better. Pirates of the Caribbean is way better out there.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to give away anything for our dear listeners out there, but just the story is so different in California. Maybe we'll do a deep dive. Maybe we'll do I Bet You Didn't Know About This about the two pirates someday. Maybe after you've ridden it, we'll do it.
That'd be great.
But it's cool. There's so much cool stuff in Disneyland. It's the first park. It's the park that Walt built and enjoyed, I guess, because he also built Magic Kingdom. But it's cool. There's a lot of cool little nooks and crannies in there. It's very 50s. It's very neat.
One last update. We got tickets to go to Toronto.
Ooh, Canada.
I got a competitor ticket, and you aren't sure how long you'll be able to go for, so you nabbed an attendee badge.
I sure did, yeah. So because I'll be starting school at the end of August there, so I don't know how much I can go for. Maybe the whole thing, maybe not. But you're going to compete out there. So as soon as we're done with Texas, we're going to get right back on the road for some Toronto prep, too.
And you have to make it back to teach the youths.
Indeed.
Well, that's all the updates. Let's get right into our meal, huh? You hungry?
I'm hungry.
You famished?
Yes.
Your stomach rumbling like so much of the thunderstorm that is rolling through our little hamlet right now?
Indeed.
All right, well, let's get to it.
Hello.
Hi, Helga. How's it going? How's life?
I need to move your table.
Okay.
Come with me.
Okay.
This is where you'll sit now. Get in.
In the bed?
Get in the bed.
Why are there beds in the restaurant? This is weird. What is this?
Where'd she go?
This is why do they have beds in here all of a sudden in the dining room?
I'm back. It's breakfast in bed.
Oh, okay. It's literally breakfast in bed.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we're up for anything here at Smorkana. So, sure. Yeah. Whatever you say. Do we order or?
Already ordered. Are you happy?
I can't say I've ever been to a restaurant that literally served breakfast while in bed, but I'm curious. I mean, I'm going to try to keep an open mind here. I think it's a little, definitely unorthodox, but
it was good idea from Francois.
Oh, it's Francois' idea. I see.
He likes breakfast in bed.
He does. Oh,
enjoy.
Whoa,
my God. That's cute. That's cute that it was Francois' idea.
Yeah, it's cute that it was Francois' idea. And Helga says that he likes breakfast in bed.
He just knows. Maybe he just talks about it.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember, I don't know, a month ago, we were kind of getting some, you said you were picking up on some vibes from...
Yeah, I don't know. We should just let them live their lives. Probably nothing.
Oh, all right. Anyway, allô, monsieur, comment ça va, madame?
Oh, hi, Francois.
Ah, bonsoir. Do you like having breakfast while you are reclined in en bed?
We do, yeah. It's really nice, actually. It's a very cozy bed.
We try to make a very comfortable bed. We want to replicate the experience of waking up in the morning and having a wonderful meal brought to you. You're reclined in the pillow.
Yeah, thanks.
So today we'll serve you, here we have omelette, it's a very perfectly made omelette. We have the crepe, we have the jus d'orange for you. So please partake, please enjoy and relax and bon appétit.
Wow, look at this food.
Wow.
These look like food items that I wouldn't have thought were good, but they are.
Yeah, surprising. I didn't know that I wanted these until I tried them.
Yeah, it's like, who knew that eggs were good? But now we know that they're good.
Like at some point, people didn't know they were good.
Or even now.
Anyway, these are slept-on cards.
Slept-on cards that, maybe have gone a little bit underappreciated, maybe have been slept on by the meta or by the general public.
Cards that we have hope for, that we like to try in decks, or that we have tried and really enjoyed, despite not seeing them be very popular. So anyway, let's get right to it.
Yeah, let's hop in. Tell us one of your slept-on cards. What's one you think needs more appreciation?
I want to highlight Gaston Despicable Dealer.
Ooh.
And we'll refresh your memories on all of these. Gaston Despicable Dealer is a 3-cost uninkable amber character with 2 strength, 4 willpower, quests for 1, and the ability Dubious Recruitment, you can exert him, and you pay 2 less for the next character you play this turn. So he's kind of like a Heart of Atlantis on a body. And I think this card is so strong. He lets you do really, really powerful things. I have really liked him in Mufasa in particular. And sometimes Mufasa decks haven't run him, and that really surprises me because I think he lets you do the kind of unfair things that you want to try to do in card games. You always want to try to do the most powerful things you can, right? And sometimes with Mufasa, it feels like you're just playing on curve. You're playing an okay card on 1, an okay card on 2, an okay card on 3. And so with Gaston, you can leap ahead for a turn most of the time and get an early Hydra out, an early Madame Medusa out, or even play Mother Gothel and Rapunzel in the same turn really early and use that to fuel your mid-game. I love Gaston, and I think he should be in every Mufasa deck.
Gaston is really powerful. We've played him in some of our decks at home, and he is so strong that the instant he comes out, I always make some kind of a sound, and I can't wait to get him off the board. It's always like, oh, dang, because then you can play anything the next turn. I mean, I can't even get rid of him fast enough as soon as he's played.
Brawl is definitely the card that gets rid of him the easiest.
Right.
But, Smash doesn't take care of it. It's hard for Strength of a Raging Fire to take care of him. If you're playing second, maybe an Along Came Zeus is something that comes down, but that means they're not singing it and they're taking their whole turn 4 to eliminate your turn 3 play. So not so bad, even if that does happen. I think he's really, really strong.
Yeah, and no card has no removal options. That's going to happen. And I think he's definitely still worth it.
Totally. Do you have a card that you'd like to talk about? Anything that you think's been slept on?
Do I have a card? Yes. My first slept on card is Cinderella Melody Weaver. So to remind you all, Cinderella Melody Weaver is a 5-cost, inkable, 1/5, singer 9 who quests for 2. That is a 5-cost singer 9, folks, and she has the ability Beautiful Voice. Whenever this character sings a song, your other princess characters get +1 lore this turn. Like, come on, that's so good. She's a legendary. She's beautiful. I love this card. I think it would work so well in a deck full of princesses who are just singing their pants off. And you got a whole board of princesses. You've got Moana, other ones that interact and buff each other really well. You could just quest for the dickens with this. Especially a singer 9. It makes a lot of sense in the story. It makes a lot of sense in a song deck. I think that she's great. I think she's wildly slept on. I'm surprised she's not in more decks than she is.
I think it's because of the prevalence of Brawl and Madame Medusa. It's really hard to sometimes play those characters that have low strength, but, they're not always going to have that exact answer. And she is a card that really must be answered, or she can run away with things. Like Singer 9, there are some interesting combos. I'm thinking Dig a Little Deeper in that princess deck might be really fun. Dig a Little Deeper being the 8-cost song for Sapphire that lets you basically develop your brain twice, get 2 cards of your choosing into your hand. So yeah, I think she could be pretty good.
And there are ways to protect her, right? If you're playing her in an Amber Sapphire deck, you could play a Cogsworth, you could play an Aurora, you could give her those protections, kind of protect her a little bit. And if you've got the other princess cards, that helps a lot.
Yeah, if she sings one card, if she sings once and, buffs some other princesses and delivers a big sing together song, that's really strong. Really, really strong. She kind of reminds me of Jim Hawkins in a way, where I think she's dependent on having another really good card in your hand to make it really worthwhile, but really, really interesting. She does things that other cards don't do, and so I could definitely see her making her way into a deck at some point.
Yeah, for sure. I've got another princess over here, too.
Oh, okay.
I've got Belle Accomplished Mystic. Now, we've discussed this card before. It might be the most beautiful thing that I've ever seen with my eyes. It's perfect. To refresh your memory, I don't know why I would need to, but to refresh your memory, Belle Accomplished Mystic is a 5-cost inkable 4/4. She's a Floodborn hero princess sorcerer, so amazing. She quests for 2. She shifts for 3. She has the ability Enhanced Healing. When you play this character, move up to 3 damage counters from chosen character to chosen opposing character. So, she has seen a little bit of play, because she's very cool, and she has that new mechanic of moving damage from one place to another place. She works really well with the beast, which is beautiful in terms of the story and the storytelling. She's a Floodborn, and Floodborns are so hot right now, it doesn't make any sense to me that she's not being used. I mean, by the same token, I had her in my Ruby Amethyst deck, and it didn't work out. It doesn't work as well as other combinations do. I don't think she's quite there yet, but I do think that she's being slept on. I think she needs more talk. I think she could use more hype. I think she needs to be tested more. I think a lot of people aren't putting in the time to test her necessarily. I love her.
Yeah, I think she has a lot of potential. Just her stat line is really respectable. Like paying 5 for a 4/4 that quests for 2 is really not bad at all. You're seeing vanilla cards that are 5/5s in that same slot. So really, really good stats. She is out of Medusa range naturally. She's out of Smash range.
Out of Brawl
naturally.
range. We're talking about stuff that can get cleared easily. She cannot get cleared easily.
No, and it's a really, really game-swinging ability, right? If you have a character that's on the verge of getting banished, you can swing the tides a little bit. Right now, with something that we've been talking about locally in our meta is that the game right now isn't really focused on challenges and like having characters on the board, and she relies on having a board presence and your opponent also having a board presence, and that's not something that's really happening a ton right now in competitive Lorcana. So I think that there could be a meta where she comes alive and she'll see play eventually, just not maybe right now.
I think so too. I love her so much. Also, she shifts for 3. So you could play her on turn 3. Like, come on. She's cool. Someday we'll see her and it'll be awesome.
Morph will change into Belle.
He could. All right. What's next? What do you have on your slept on cards list here?
I would like to talk about Zeus, Mr. Lightning Bolts. He is a 3-cost inkable emerald card with 0 printed strength and 5 willpower, quests for 2. He is a Storyborn king and a deity, and he has the ability Target Practice. Whenever this character challenges another character, he gets plus strength equal to the strength of chosen character this turn. So he basically, when he's challenging, has as much strength as whatever the highest strength is on the board, on your side or your opponent's side. I think this card is very, very strong, and I think it's easy to write him off because of that 0 strength and because he is vulnerable to certain removal that is in the meta. That said, we play cards like Agrabah sometimes, which is a 3-cost inkable card that kind of quests for 2, right? And that also has 5 willpower. This has the ability to take out some big threats on your opponent's side to trade up, right? Or trade really favorably in the early game. Like if there's 3 strength on the board and he's a 3/5 that quests for 2 for 3, like that's a pretty strong stat line. Yes, he's vulnerable to Brawl for sure. He's vulnerable to like the uncommon small Sisu and Madame Medusa. But, for a 3-cost card, that's not that bad. And he's inkable as well. You also can combo him with Hera, which I think is another really decent card that will eventually see some play. I'm pretty happy with Hera and Zeus together. And Hera gives Zeus ward. So you can even protect him potentially from some of those threats. But just by himself, I do think this is a pretty strong card that's always going to be decent. And in the matchups where you're afraid of Brawl, you can ink him. So really, really high on Zeus, Mr. Lightning Bolts.
I love that card. We've both loved it for a while. He's so cool. And thinking of him on turn 3, if your opponent's playing a Sisu on turn 3, that's, a 6 strength Sisu, then, Zeus would be 2.
Yeah, he's really good at countering those opposing Sisus, isn't he? Yeah, whatever your opponent's Sisu is, he is too.
Yeah, exactly, right. He's whatever anybody is.
He's pretty much at least going to trade 1-for-1 with anything on the board. It's pretty awesome.
Mr. Lightning Bolts!
Anything else you want to talk about? Any other slept-on cards?
Yeah. I've got another slept-on card. You ever heard of this? It's called Brawl.
We just talked about Brawl like 19 times for every other card because of how... Wait, what?
Got him!
What?
What's up?
Oh my God. Oh, you're firing all cylinders here tonight, huh?
Yeah, Brawl's not slept on. Brawl's the opposite of slept on. Brawl is awake too often. That's what that is.
What else you got on your plate over there?
Okay, I have a real one this time.
Okay.
I promise.
Okay.
I'm not gonna get you.
Yeah.
Philoctetes. Philoctetes' no-nonsense instructor. I love Phil. To refresh your memory, Phil is a steel card, a 4-cost inkable 2/3, quest for 2. He's got the trait Storyborn Ally. He has the ability, you gotta stay focused. Your hero characters gain Challenger +1. Pretty good. Then he's got another ability, Shameless Promoter. Whenever you play a hero character, gain 1 lore. Now, perhaps I'm biased on this because in my Terrible League deck, as we discussed earlier, Phil is like the champion of the day because I have so many heroes, right? And so whenever he gets on the board, he's an instant target for removal. And in our limited league, he can't really be removed that easily, which is why I have so much hope for Phil in the next meta or the next whatever, once we get out of this Diablo brawl punt little stuff to the corner and some other threat becomes more prevalent, right? Something like Phil could come up from the ground again and be really good. You get a lore for every hero you play, and then you also get the benefit of having played a hero. Like, the 2 abilities to me is like a win-win kind of a deal. He buffs everything without having to do anything, and he gains you some extra lore from time to time. He's kind of like a goat in that way.
Yeah.
I don't want to offend Phil, but he's similar to a goat.
He is. It's interesting because I think everybody's really high on Philoctetes coming into the set and thought he was one of the best cards. And then just because of the way the meta is shaken out, he's become kind of entirely unplayed. But he is lurking there, right? He is going to be the pivot point for a cool archetype in the future. So, yeah, I look forward to the days when Phil reigns. I've got another one.
Oh, do you now?
Yeah. I want to talk about Aurora Lore Guardian.
Ooh, she's so pretty.
Yeah. So Aurora Lore Guardian is a 4-cost inkable sapphire card. She's a 3/3 that quests for 2. She's a Floodborn hero and a princess. She shifts for 2. And she has the ability Preserver. Opponents can't choose your items for abilities or effects. And Royal Inventory. You can exert one of your items, look at the top card of your deck, and put it either on the top or the bottom of your deck. So 2 really strong abilities that key off of your items. And I think this card is really, really good. And I've really enjoyed trying her out when I've played her. So the key for me is that you can use that second ability to exert your items as often as you want, as many times as you want. There's no limit on that. So if you have, 2 Fortispheres and a Popsicle and a Fishbone Quill that you don't want to use this turn, just chilling on your board, you can continuously filter through your deck until you put the card that you want on the top and then draw it with one of your myriad draw abilities, filter, 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 and then play a Popsicle, draw the card you want, and you're ready to go. So I think she's really, really strong. I think she's kind of in that same Grammatala, the 4-cost Grammatala range. And I think she competes kind of for the same slot. And that's when I've used her. She doesn't replace herself immediately like Grammatala does, but she has respectable stats. She quests for 2, which is great. And that Preserver ability can come in handy. I know that in the mirror matches for Sapphire Steel or Sapphire Ruby versus Sapphire Steel, item removal is key, and often the matchup hinges upon it. So if you're playing Sapphire Ruby and you play your Quill on 3 and then you play Aurora on 4, that means that on turn 5, as you go into turn 5, the Sapphire Steel player can't play Beast Hardheaded and remove your Quill so that they can then play Whole New World. Like, it's an interaction that seems kind of niche, but it does happen. It seems in that matchup, that's kind of how things shake out. And so I think Aurora could be a really cool tech card and at maybe 2 copies, specifically for that matchup. And again, that filtering ability is really strong.
Also, can you imagine shifting her for 2? That would make her even better. I can't imagine her in an item deck where she's been shifted onto a smaller Aurora, right? For on turn 2 and she does all that stuff. Like, she feels a little bit broken to me.
Yeah, 2 viable shift targets for Aurora. Both of them 2 cost, yeah, and one of them has Ward. So if you really wanted to shift her out early, you certainly could. All right, one more.
Yeah, what else do you have in there? I've gone through all of my slept-on cards, but I feel like you're itching to say one more that you've got for us.
Yeah, I have one last little morsel on my plate that I would love to mention, and this is Luisa Madrigal, Rock of the Family.
Woo!
3-cost, inkable, steel character, 2 strength, 4 willpower, quests for 1, Storyborn, Ally, and Madrigal. She has the ability, I'm the strong one. While you have another character in play, this character gets +2 strength. Boom.
Boom.
Most of the time, going to be a 4/4 for 3.
That's pretty good.
It's above the curve. She's really solid. And I've seen steel decks in the past that have wanted this stat line. Like, I think I see people try to make Lawrence work quite a bit.
Oh, right.
You know, who's kind of a 4/4 some of the time and then gets banished easily. I mean, she's much better than Lawrence to me. And
Yeah, I forget that Lawrence exists.
yeah, right. And I think that people have forgotten that Luisa Madrigal exists too. You know, she's a common card, easy to overlook. She's not super exciting, but right now, just playing a 4/4 on 3 is pretty strong.
Yeah, and that donkey.
And that donkey, who doesn't want a sensible donkey in their deck?
Yeah, please. Good takes.
I was not prepared to have breakfast in bed, but you know what? Now that we tried it, I like it.
Ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum, bum. Here, you will sit at normal table for entree. Breakfast in bed, appetizer only. Trial period.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Helga.
That makes sense.
A strange experiment for the restaurant.
I liked it, though.
I did too.
Yeah.
Hey, look.
Oh my god, it's Pete.
Hey, Pete.
Come
Come on over here. Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good. What's that you're carrying? What's in that box there?
Well, I was in Chicago recently, and so I brought one of the great dishes from Chicago. I'm not a fan of it, but maybe you guys might like it. It's a deep dish pizza.
Wow.
Oh my god, a deep dish pizza from Chicago.
I can't believe that you brought that on the plane and everything. That's diligence.
I didn't want to eat it, so I thought you guys might like it.
I'm very excited about the deep dish pizza. I don't think I've ever had a true deep dish pizza.
Now's the time.
So thank you so much. That's very thoughtful.
Pete's like a billionaire now, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think because he was top 32 at the Chicago Disney Lorcana Challenge. So that pretty much makes him a billionaire with all the different prizes that he got. You got a Cinderella promo, right?
Yep.
And that's worth like a solid $3 bill, I think, right?
I mean, I would take that as a rate. Yeah, that would be nice.
Now, where is that right now?
It's at home in a very secure location that I will not reveal.
Okay. Well, that's fair.
Just don't get any ideas.
So I just want to be clear. We're talking to Pete, who is not the large cat that antagonizes Mickey Mouse. He is a human being.
Yes, he's not Pete bad guy.
He's decidedly not animated. He's flesh and blood.
Yeah, we can confirm that now.
He's right here in our...
Yeah, it was a mystery before, but now it's confirmed.
And you're just going to have to take our word for it, considering we're an audio podcast. He is a flesh and blood person in our very own New Hampshire kitchen.
I would say, though, that Pete's a pretty big cat when it comes to Lorcana.
He is a dominant player here in the New Hampshire meta. He moderates the New England Discord, and he is fresh off a top 32 finish at the Disney Lorcana Challenge in Chicago.
Ooh, ooh.
So we're super happy that he's joining us here in the restaurant today.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yeah, this place is really nice. I'm glad to be here.
Thanks. That's so good. I'm glad they're getting good reviews of this restaurant. We don't want it to close. If the restaurant closes, the podcast has to end. You know?
Now, your online handle, quick question for you, is R2.
That's correct.
What are you?
I'm really just a robot.
Oh no!
So you are in fact the astromech droid from Naboo.
Yep, that's the idea. That's why I'm doing so on Lorcana. It's all the calculations I can do.
I'm pleased to see that you've picked up English. It makes it much easier for us to understand you here on the podcast.
That was a recent module addition.
Thank you. That is nice.
All right. Well, let's get into this. I'm sure that you had a wonderful experience in Chicago, and we want to hear all about it. And we want our listeners to maybe have an idea of what to expect if they are going to an upcoming Lorcana Challenge themselves. So how did you get there? Did you fly there? How was traveling?
Sure. Yeah. So I actually flew with two other players from our local scene, not Diversions, but another store called Awesome CCG. We flew out with them. The hotel and venue were all one spot. So it was nice. We got rooms at the hotel. There's food options in the hotel, a lot of fun people to meet. The one thing I would recommend is, so I got hotel nights for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I flew back on Monday, but the two guys I went with, they flew back on Sunday night. So they missed out a little bit of the fun on Sunday, because while the challenge event does kind of wind down around 5 or so on Sunday, you can still get together with friends, have food, just play normal paper games with them, have a good time. I think if I was to do it again, which I hope to go to another one, highly recommend going all the way through Monday.
Well, there you have it, because I mean, you're gaming all weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's like the ceremonies at the end. I'm guessing that it would be cool to check out. And so to kind of have time to decompress and not be rushing off to the airport seems like it's a really good idea.
Yeah, because we got in like midday Friday. So we were able to get in, relax. We played some games. I did a last minute pivot of what deck I was going to play because of those games, which is, if you know me from any other events, I'm known to wake up and switch decks day of an event. That's kind of a problem I have. But we were able to, meet some friends, get some food, relax. And then Saturday, the fun begins.
Yeah, that has to help your mindset too, I imagine, when you have the buffer time before and knowing that you have buffer time after, it helps you compete at a higher level when you're not worried about the travel stress.
Yeah, especially getting in and being able to rest, because sleep is really important for playing well. And I had an entire king-size bed to myself, and it was great.
Oh, heck yeah.
No dogs snuggling with me. I miss my dogs, No kids running in at 7 a.m. poking me awake. I just got to sleep and get ready for the games.
How did you store your Cinderella promo on the way home from Chicago?
Honestly, in the bag they gave it to me. And so they gave us like little, I guess, manila folders. And then inside were the cards in a sleeve, top loaders, and then in a plastic outer.
Okay. Good. Interesting.
What we keep hearing is that the ambiance at DLCs are like immaculate. What was it like for you? What was the atmosphere like? Did you feel like people were going to steal your cards, steal your money?
So that was actually one thing that was brought up. So I'm a person in the 20 Lore Discord, if listeners have heard of it. If not, go check it out. It's a really good competitive Discord that talks about Lorcana. A lot of the notes and recommendations that players there were recommending was good sleep, good food options, but then to keep your bags, checked, like when you're sitting, keep your bag like wrapped in your legs, always have it with you. I did not in any point ever feel like someone was out to get any of my stuff. Everybody was very welcoming. The atmosphere was great. Everybody was friendly. It was just fun to be had the whole weekend. And I never for 1 second thought, oh no, these 4 Diablos that I brought in my deck are in danger of being, taken.
That's great to hear. Yeah, everybody says it's so much fun, and the side events are fun, and the main events are fun, and the people are cool. So that's very good to hear.
That is probably the one thing I do regret about Chicago, is that I didn't get to do too many side events because I was playing in day 2, which was awesome. But if we're being completely honest, I was expecting to show up in Chicago, play maybe 5 to 7 rounds in the main event, drop, and then do sealed, drafts, constructed with other fun decks that I brought to play with me on the rest of the day Saturday, and then Sunday to just do that again, just play a whole bunch of events. And then, after round 5, I look at the standings and I'm 5th overall and I go, okay, I guess I'm playing.
So what did you play in Chicago? What was your deck?
I went to Chicago with the intention of playing Ruby Sapphire Control. And I played against one of my travel mates, Adam, on Friday. And I had him play the Emerald Steel Bucky list, because I thought that would be a very common matchup. So I want to get some practice. And he kicked my butt. I don't think I won a game. I think we played maybe 2 to 3 rounds. It was very demoralizing. And I went to sleep that night and I woke up the next morning and I said, all right, I'm playing Emerald Steel Bucky.
It's so interesting that, so often you hear pick a deck and stick with it, and you're going to want to change and don't change, stick with what you know. And then it doesn't work out when people do switch decks at the last minute. So it's awesome to hear that, you trusted your gut there and you made that last minute pivot and it paid off in spades for you.
Yeah, that's one thing that local testing partners have told me, is that I do switch decks too much, that I'm not getting comfortable enough. However, I think that's partially what makes me a good player. I learn by playing other decks. Actually, it's a funny story. This is why I think I won my top 64 match so handedly. Originally, I thought that a Ruby Amber Mufasa list was going to be really strong this set. And we came up with a set list that I then took to Ink Tables, this little AI online thing you can play against. And I loaded up a Bucky list because that's a hard matchup for us. And I played my list against that, and I lost to an AI over and over and over again in the same demoralizing manner that was pretty predictable. It would be the idea was to get out ramp characters like Gaston and then ramp it to the big boys like Medusa and take care of those Diablos, or get Surfer Stitch out and then sing Be Prepared with Surfer Stitch, reload my board, they're out of cards, I've got stuff. But time and time again, my Gaston would come on board and then they would kill it. And then I go, uh-oh. And that's what happened in my top 64 match. I loaded up and it was against a Red Fossa player, and he played Gaston on curve and I killed it on curve. And that's all she wrote.
What was your favorite match of the weekend? Was it your top 64 match?
So the top 64 definitely is up there because it was a fun win. That was the only match of the weekend where my hands were shaking, but I don't think it was because of the level of what it was at. A little backstory. PPG, the folks who ran the tournament, they had some issues with deck lists going into the top cut. Some people had wrong deck lists. There was one player who had his deck list from Atlanta was the one provided. I woke up Saturday morning to see not only was my deck list wrong, but my name was not on the top cut list anymore.
Oh,
so
boy.
I scrolled down to 55 and it was another player and his deck list showed up and it was a Steel Amber Mufasa player. And I'm like, well, that's my spot. So I double check on Melee and I'm like, okay, no, I'm still 55th. I still make top cut. My opponent's deck list, his link didn't work. So I was blind to what he was playing. And then he was either blind to what I was playing, but if he didn't know that the error was made, like he could have looked up who he was playing against and it would have shown that it was wrong. He might have thought I was playing a different list. And that is what happened. He thought I was going to play a Steel Mufasa list when I showed up.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
I was shaking in my top 64 because of all that practice I did playing the Mufasa list against Bucky, that I felt like this is an easy win and I can't mess it up. So I was very nervous for that reason, not because it was top 64. But my favorite match of the weekend was probably, I think it was round 4. I can check my notes, but it was against Blue Steel. That was the list that I was most scared to play against. I did some practice with my friend Jeff. He basically would be able to kill all my shift targets and then get to refilling his hand all the time with all the little cantrips that they play. And then Tinkerbell would come down and kill my Buckies, and I just go, uh-oh. But I played against a guy. He seemed like he was a very good player. He knew his way around the cards and the board. But I inked a big Robin Hood and played Ursula 2 on turn 5 instead of doing the opposite. And I was able to snipe his whole new world and leave him without any cards. And I just kind of let my momentum carry through. And then the next one was another slog, and I was able to get that. And yeah, so that 2-0 felt the best out of probably the whole weekend.
That's great. Now, shifting a little bit, how do you see the meta developing from Chicago? Because I know that you're super tapped into kind of the worldwide meta game, and you have a really good handle on what people are playing and what to expect at set champs. So looking ahead, how do you think the meta might shift from Chicago?
So going into the set, I was a little worried that this set was going to be like set 2. For those who don't remember set 2, it was basically a 2-horse race. Either you were playing Ruby Amethyst or you weren't, and you were losing to it probably. Ruby Amethyst was winning so much in set 2, and I was afraid that was what this was going to be again, with a 2-horse race between Ruby Sapphire and then everything else.
Sure.
And that doesn't seem to be the case, which is I'm excited about. Chicago was awesome to see just how many different lists could make it into the top cut. Probably one of my favorite lists I made it was by a player, Pandemonium Heart. He did a Emerald, Amber, Kita Under the Sea list, which I have been playing a lot recently, and it's a lot of fun.
I've lost to you playing that many times.
I don't think the locals like me playing that list anymore.
Oh, I love seeing it in action because it takes so many cool lines. There's so many interesting plays that you can make with it. So I don't mind losing to it. It's pretty cool to see.
But Bucky lists, don't like losing to that?
Honestly, I can't be a hypocrite here.
What?
A couple of episodes ago, we said that losing is one of the best things you can do to
fair.
become a better player. So I'm going to sit here and say that I love losing to Bucky.
I don't think that I can sit here and say that. I still have a hard time with losing. I know that we should lose, but boy, it's so hard to lose against Bucky.
Yeah.
Dang
That little squirrel.
Yeah. Haunts my dreams.
Top decking maybe isn't the most fun you can have, but hey,
No.
you get to feel like a little bit of a gambler seeing what's coming off the top. That's what you're playing that turn.
You love Mufasa It's
Yeah.
just a different way to play Mufasa You're just top decking off your deck instead of a character flip.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Who needs Lorcana? We can just play war. Flip the card off the top, baby. Quick question. Are you going to be using your Cinderella Stout-Hearted promo in set championships?
No, that is unfortunately not something I will be using.
So if you're not using it, where's it going to be?
Currently, right now, it's listed on eBay for people to bid on if they would like their own version.
Okay, but it hasn't sold yet.
It has not sold yet.
It's still in the state of New Hampshire. Okay, great. Now, this is our last major question here. Maybe the most important question. Who should go to a Disney Lorcana challenge?
That's a great question. I think anybody who wants to, especially with the attendee badges being a thing, I think that's a great wrinkle to the challenge atmosphere, is that I had a friend on one of my testing teams. He showed up and he played side events the whole time. He had a great time, got a foil, the Cinderella playmat, like all by himself. Like he didn't have to pool tickets with other people, which is a common thing. That's how I have one of those playmats, but I pooled with another player. That is the great thing about the challenge. You can go there to play in the challenge. It's super fun. The new implementation they did with the tickets to get you to play longer. I think somewhere I saw the numbers were like almost 80% retention of players in the main event in Chicago, which is pretty unheard of at these major large events. So that's really cool that they kept people playing. I met a ton of different people. I know that it is a little bit of an expense to fly out and get hotels, but if you can maybe split a hotel with a friend, or you have friends in the area, or you are willing to drive to save a little bit of money, I think I would highly recommend everybody tries to get to at least one challenge event, whether you are, the number one player in your area winning every set championship, or whether you just started playing this set. I think it has a lot to offer, a lot of fun things. There was a booth there. You could play against some of the designers. And then when you win, you get like cool promo cards that are going for some good trade value or selling or your own collection. There's a lot of cool stuff. And I also love non-foil alt art cards. So the Rapunzel and the big Cinderella that they had available at the prize wall. Man, if I could have a playset of those, I would. Like that'd be awesome.
Yeah, Rapunzel's one of my absolute favorite cards. And I mean, the floor of the value on that card is like $35 or whatever Rapunzel is going for right now. So even just getting an extra copy of a really great card is great, let alone a cool alt art. Now, are there any, just hypothetically, if you were going to store something valuable, like a valuable card, like in a safe or something, like that had a passcode, like some kind of significant number to you, what number would that be?
I mean, one of my favorite numbers in the world is 20 after the basketball player Allen Houston. He played for the New York Knicks a long time ago.
Yeah, sure.
That's one of my favorite numbers.
Okay, 20.
And do you want to know my dog's names too?
Yep.
Sure.
Lexi and Zoe,
Mother's maiden
both
name?
with Y's. Hold on, wait a second here.
And are you keeping that Cinderella mat in the same location as the Cinderella
the Cinderella
card?
mat is the other player has it. So that's at an undisclosed location outside the state of New Hampshire.
Okay, maybe we could write that down after we stop recording. You could tell Okay,
sure.
Great. Okay, awesome. Perfect. We like to play a little game called Ink, Play, Banish here on the podcast. Inking is a card that you like to use some of the time, but not all of the time. Playing is a card that you always want. You always want it in your hand. You always want to be able to play it. And then banishing is a card that you don't care for at all. And so we'll give you 3 options, and if you can sort those for us.
Oh, good.
This will
be fun.
All right. So first, Lorcana cards, Bucky, Diablo, and Ursula, Deceiver of All.
Oh, that's really hard. Okay.
And we mean fancy Diablo. Like
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. The the big one,
Right.
the 3-drop. Not the 1-drop is really good.
He's
people
cute, yeah.
thought that he wasn't going to be good, and
But he's not fancy Diablo.
he's not fancy Diablo.
Yes.
That's true. I hate to say this because I'm a Emerald Steel Bucky discard player since set 2 when it was cool to do bibbidi bobbidi boo and bounce your floodborns back to hand and stuff. But Bucky's going to have to be, which is the Banish, for a variety of reasons. Mostly in this context, it's because I love the other 2 cards much more. I could go on a diatribe of why Bucky is harmful to the meta for a lot of different reasons. But so let's see, Deceiver of All or Diablo. Oh, that's hard. Both those cards are so much fun because Ursula does really fun singing stuff. Diablo draws you cards, and that's awesome. I'm going to have to ink Ursula and play Diablo.
Wow.
That breaks my heart because there's not many things in the game right now better than like just singing Friends with Ursula and drawing 4 cards. That's pretty cool. I don't care if I'm losing the game next turn. I just drew 4 cards.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's a good one.
I love Ursula. It'd be really hard to give up Ursula in any kind of fashion.
Especially with all the sing together things you can do with her. Like I used to play, at one point there was a list singing Look at This Family with another person, so you get to potentially put 4 characters in your hand. I mean, that's even better than singing Friends. You get to pick the 4.
Yeah.
So
in my pet airfoil deck, I was playing Ursula with Pirate's Life. And that was super fun too. Nice comeback mechanic for sure.
8 lore swing.
Yeah.
Insane.
All right, you got one, Katie?
Yes, our next Ink Play Banish for you is not about Lorcana cards. We're leaning more into snacks here. Talking about pizzas. Deep dish pizza, New York style pizza, or Greek pizza.
Oh, well, that's going to be easy. You gave me an easier one in a second, so that's good. So for the folks who don't know, I hail from upstate New York. I may live in New Hampshire now, but that's where I was raised, and so I will always be a New York-style pizza fan. Deep dish is the one that's getting banished. It's
man.
I know that people like it, but it's not pizza. It's a casserole dish, and you just it's a lasagna without the pasta, and I want the pasta. So I don't know. It's not for me. I understand it. I tried it. It's not for me. So that'll get banished. We are going to be playing New York style, and you know what? There are some good Greek pizzas out there, but I will ink that for now.
Sounds good. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right. Another Lorcana card to finish off here. We've got locations. We have Hidden Cove, the Snuggly Duckling, and McDuck Manor.
All right, those are some good choices. I really like Snuggly Duckling and the ability to just pop some lore out of nowhere. But it's going to be banished. I want that to work. I feel like it will. The meta right now just is very non-challenge appropriate, which is kind of a bummer. I like the game when it's more interactive. It's fun when you have to look at the board and think, how can I trade so that I'm still going to lose something later, but I'm coming out at an advantageous spot, and I don't feel like the meta has that right now.
Yep.
But hey, a new set's coming up. Who knows? So Snuggly Duckling, go into the banish. I'm going to ink McDuck Manor. As much as, that card is a powerhouse, I've got to go with Cove because Cove is awesome in the current meta. I ran 2 in my list at Chicago. I think that card is awesome. Just to be able to play around different amounts of both health and strength to just do fun things is awesome.
Love that.
Yeah, good takes.
Makes a lot of sense given your success over in Chicago that you're playing the Cove, a great card.
Indeed.
A great card. Well, Pete, thank you so much for joining us here on Smorcana. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm looking forward to playing against you in a tournament later today, potentially. Is there anything that you would like to plug before you hit the road?
I'd plug the New England Discord that you mentioned a little bit earlier. If there are folks in New England listening to this who aren't on that Discord, I would highly recommend that they come on and join. We post a lot of fun content. There are, right now it's full of set championship links, so you can easily go to one spot and see all the different stores in the different states that are doing set championships. There are people, like last night, it was very full of people saying, oh, I got a Toronto ticket, or oh, no, I didn't get one, and people trying to, figure out what the best travel plans are. It's a great place.
Great. Yeah, I really enjoy the New England Discord. I'm constantly checking for updates there. I've found info on set champs there for sure. And I've even plugged this very podcast on that Discord a few times. So yeah, I agree with that one for sure.
Amazing. Thanks for coming and checking out the restaurant.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the pizza. And that
will.
neither of you are lactose intolerant
No, it's still
because
hot.
there's a lot of cheese there.
I love
Yeah, it's
pizza.
great.
I'm so excited. I'm flabbergasted that you were able to bring this all the way from Chicago and that it could still look so fresh. Let's dig in.
Ah, what a delicious meal that was.
A panoply of victuals for us.
Can you believe Pete was in the restaurant today?
I can't believe that at one moment we were having breakfast in bed in a dining room in the Smorkana restaurant.
Yeah.
And then we were being delivered a fresh deep dish pizza all the way from Chicago. So, a lot going on tonight.
Woof! Boy, we are in for just a hurricane of stuff tonight. Just a real storm.
I see what you did there, because that leads us right into our dream card.
Ooh! Brett, you've cooked up a dream card for us this week.
A little bit of a dessert.
What am I looking at here?
We're looking at a hurricane of jacarandas.
Ah, yes. From Encanto, for those who don't recognize it from just hearing it. It's when they're singing What Else Can I Do? And Isabella's singing about a hurricane of jacaranda. That's what she's saying, hurricane of jacarandas.
Right, and I think that song is, as the youths say, a bop.
Yes, indeed.
I think
Indeed
it's
a bop.
super underrated. It's my favorite song in that movie.
I know.
Nobody talks about it because, admittedly, there's some really good songs, right? Like, we don't talk about Bruno and, Welcome to the Family Madrigal is awesome. And this song, though, it's so good.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's so
pretty
good.
Yeah.
It's just like a really solid pop tune.
What does Hurricane of Jacarandas do?
Hurricane of Jacarandas is a 3-cost inkable song in the amethyst color. You can, of course, have a character of cost 3 or more exert to sing it. And it says, move any number of damage counters from chosen characters to chosen characters, then gain 2 lore for each character banished as a result of this ability.
It's a hurricane of damage being thrown around.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a word salad there, but just to kind of boil it down to its essence, you can move damage counters that are on the table anywhere you want them to go. And then any characters that are banished as a result, your own included, give you 2 lore.
Yeah, as long as it's on characters, you can move it characters to characters.
Right, you can move it between yours and banish your own characters. You can take everything off of your characters and put them on opposing characters.
2 lore for each character banished, too, is that's great.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? It's kind of a combo piece, which is fun. I think it's checked by the fact that, it's reliant on board state, and it's easy to kind of get into that fantasy dreamland of, and if I have, 3 damage and 4 damage and 2 damage on my characters, and they have a 2 willpower and a 3 willpower and a 4 willpower character, I can just move all the damage off of my characters and wipe the opponent's board and gain 6 lore. But, that's not going to be the reality most of the time. It's just really cool when it does. And I love cards like that give you those stories.
And even like you said, if the board state isn't necessarily responding to it, it's still inkable.
Right.
It's not, you're not stuck with a hurricane of jacarandas in your hand the whole time. I think it's a great card. It's got the flavor text. Can I deliver us a river of sun dew? Careful, it's carnivorous, a little just won't do. I want to feel the shiver of something new.
No.
Yeah, when she sings it, she goes, can I deliver us a river of sundew? But she's actually saying a river of sundew. Now, we've looked this song up many a times. Jacarandas means flowers.
Right, it's a type of flower. And boy, I had no idea what that lyric was before looking it up. And it's really cool. There's some really, really great lyrics, as you would expect from Mr. Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Right, and I should clarify that flores is flowers. Jacarandas is a kind of flower, right?
Right.
But still, a great card. I love this dream card. Perfect for dream card number 20.
An homage to my favorite song in Encanto.
See.
I can barely walk. I'm getting you so good on these intros.
Because you're starting hot with I can barely walk.
Yeah, I'm stuffed.
Does that make you not be able to walk?
Yeah, you know how sometimes you get bloated and you're kind of waddling
so your
around?
pants don't fit or something. You can't walk. Like you rode a horse.
No, like, like you feel like super bloated, like you're going to fall over.
Yeah, I
'Cause
guess
you
so.
ate
That's
so much.
true. Yeah. I
You
can
never
barely
had that?
walk. Can barely walk.
Maybe it just happens to me because I have a high center of gravity.
That's very possible. That's very
I
true.
have whatever the opposite of sea legs is.
Yeah. You got tree legs.
Yeah.
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 What do we have coming up next week on episode 21?
Well, it's our final episode next week before Set Championship season. So it's going to be our Set Championship preview episode. We're going to have lots of tips for some of the decks that you might expect to encounter, a read on the meta, and some general advice for going to Set Champs.
Yeah, very exciting.
What else?
We're going to do a Bet You Didn't Know About about Disneyland.
Awesome.
Yeah, get a little amped up, get a little bit of history about Disneyland before we take the podcast on the road in just a couple weeks.
Love it.
Eat it, see it, toast it,
Bop it.
twist it.
If you liked the episode, please do like, comment, subscribe, whatever. You can follow us on social media at Smorkana wherever you go, or write us an email at smorkana@gmail.com.
We are Smorkana wherever Smorkana can be found.
Until next time, keep on snacking, y'all.
Yum, 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 yum. What's up?